Imagine, you wake to the sound of chains clinking in the dark. The stone beneath you is bitterly cold, not just cold, but burning. You try to move, but metal shackles tighten against your wrists, biting into the skin. This isn't your village anymore, not the hillside where you once chased goats, helped your mother grind grain, listened to stories by firelight, that life ended 3 days ago. The slave traders came like a storm, fast, ruthless, and practiced. They moved through your home like a plague, choosing who would live, who would die, and who would be taken. Your name was Kais, a simple name passed down from your grandfather, but that name, it vanished the moment rough hands tore you from your family's hut. Now you are no one, you are property, a body to be priced, catalogued, and sold. A man stands over you, speaking Latin in cold, clipped tones. His fingers run through your hair, as if testing the quality of cloth. He tilts your chin up toward a flickering torchlight, inspecting your face like you're a piece of merchandise. "This one will do," he says to the other man, a Greek with sharp eyes who doesn't speak, just makes marks on a wax tablet. "Celtic stock always fetches a high price," he murmurs. "Look at that hair. Like spun gold. Young enough to be molded. You can't understand everything they're saying, but the tone, that's familiar. You've heard it before when your father took livestock to market. The way men would stand in circles, discuss price and worth, inspect the animals, trade silver. But now you're the livestock, and the market isn't your village square. It's the vast, devouring heart of Rome, a city hungry for beauty that can be owned, controlled, consumed. The journey is a blur. Days melt into each other. You're packed into wagons with other children. The air is thick with fear, sweat, and silence. Some cry without stopping. Others go quiet so completely. Quiet they seem hollowed out, already lost. But the ones who frighten you most are the ones who begin to adapt. They try to learn Latin words from the guards, bow their heads, offer to help, as if being useful might save them. When you finally reach the slave markets of Rome, you expect chaos, shouting, madness, crowds. But instead, it's the opposite. It's quiet, controlled, methodical. The market for delicati, the delicate ones, is run like a military campaign. Every movement is practiced, every display carefully arranged. This isn't just selling slaves. It's theater. Before you're even put on display, they begin preparing you. You're bathed in warm water, scrubbed until your skin glows, oiled with perfumes that smell of flowers you've never seen. Your hair is trimmed and styled by a man whose hands move with the speed of someone who's done this many times before. They dress you in a simple white tunic, soft, flowing, clean. It's designed to make you look innocent, pure. But this isn't clothing, it's a costume. A costume for a part you never agreed to play. And then the buyers come, they circle. You slowly, talking to each other like you're not there. Some comment on your teeth, like you're a horse. Others examine your skin for blemishes, measuring your limbs like an artist evaluating marble. A few speak broken Celtic, testing whether you understand commands. Some test your reactions, a hand on the shoulder, a touch under the chin. They watch how you respond. Do you flinch? Do you freeze? Do you cry? Each response is noted, every emotion weighed for value. Eventually, one buyer stops in front of you longer than the others. He's older, mid-40s maybe. Not cruel, but something worse, calm. His eyes are intelligent, calculating. He looks at you the way a collector studies a rare coin. He runs his fingers along your arms, tilts your face toward the light. "This one," he says quietly. The dealer nods. "How old?" he asks, though he already seems to know. 12, says the seller. "Maybe 13. Young enough to train, old enough to be interesting. And look at that bone structure, he'll age beautifully." For a time, you feel it in your chest. A cold, sharp ache. This isn't just slavery. This is a system designed to use you up and throw you away. The deal is made. Silver passes from one hand to another. A wax tablet is signed. Just like that, you belong to a man named Marcus Luke Bliss, as completely as his sandals or his wine cup. He doesn't speak to you. Slaves don't deserve conversation. Instead, he gives instructions to an older servant who will bring you to his home. That home, the villa, is more beautiful than anything you could have imagined. Marble floors, covered in mosaics, walls painted with gods and legends, gardens, with strange flowers and sweet-smelling air. But beauty becomes a kind of cruelty when you realize it's all a stage, a beautiful prison where every lovely detail is designed for control. You are part of that scenery now. Your training begins immediately. Your instructor is called Alexandros, a former delicatus himself. He's grown older, no longer desired, but instead of being discarded, he became useful. He now trains the new ones, the favorites, the fresh. He isn't cruel, but he isn't warm either. He's learned the cost of caring too deeply for those who won't last long. Your master enjoys conversation. He tells you, you'll be educated, not for your benefit, for his. You begin learning Greek philosophy, Roman poetry, music, arithmetic. You memorize verses, not because they mean anything to you, but because Marcus might one day ask you to recite them. You're taught how to walk, how to sit, how to speak only when spoken to, how to smile without showing teeth, how to lower your eyes at the exact right moment. You must never appear too clever, but never too dull. You must be charming, but not challenging. Language lessons take over your mornings. Latin and Greek. Yes, but also nuance. How to address a senator versus a merchant. What tone to use when speaking with guests. You learn to seem intelligent, but never smarter than your master. In the afternoons, you study art. You're taught the stories behind the frescoes on the villa walls, stories of gods and monsters, love and betrayal. You learn what each symbol means, but you're warned, never interpret too much, never sound like a scholar. Then come music lessons. You learn the lyre, delicate melodies that float through the halls. At first, it gives you peace, a place to hide, even for a moment. But that illusion fades when you realize every piece you learn is chosen to entertain Marcus. During his private hours, physical training comes next. Not for strength, not for sport. This isn't exercise, it's preservation. Your body must remain soft, your features delicate. Muscle is discouraged. Herbs are mixed into your meals to keep your growth slow. Oils are rubbed into your skin. Physicians, experts in beauty, monitor your development. You aren't allowed to age freely. And then there's the mental training. More subtle, more painful. Every part of you that once belonged to yourself is slowly carved away, piece by piece. They erase your language, your customs, even your posture. You no longer sit like a Celt. You no longer speak like Car. Is soon? You don't even dream like yourself. Your name is never spoken again. You've become a performance, a creation shaped for another man's desire. And every day you must smile. Obey, endure, because here, in the depths of Roman beauty, you are nothing more than a delicate possession, a fading moment of perfection, waiting to be replaced. Your birth name is never spoken again. From now on, you are called Ganymede, the name of the beautiful boy Zeus once stole from Earth and made his cupbearer. That story is no longer just myth. It has become your identity. Your past, your family, your village, your real name is treated as a dream. Something weak and childish you must forget. They tell you that this is your real life now, that serving your master is your purpose, that your worth is only measured by your ability to please him. Day by day, hour by hour, that idea is drilled into you. If you succeed, if you are obedient, quiet, pleasing, you are rewarded. But if you resist, if you hesitate, if you show the wrong expression, then the rewards vanish, and something colder takes their place. You begin to understand. Failure here doesn't mean punishment. It means invisibility. It means worthlessness. The other boys in the household become both your teachers and your rivals. There's Alexis, a boy from Syria, with eyes as dark as polished glass. He arrived 6 months before you. He's beautiful, confident, and terrifyingly skilled. He knows exactly how the system works, and how to survive in it. He teaches you things that adults don't. How to blend powder with oil to make your skin glow. How your master prefers his wine, not too strong, not too weak. He tells you which questions you should never ask, and which topics are forbidden, even in whispers. Then there's Dionysos, a Greek boy who has lived in the villa for 3 years. He moves through the marble halls like a shadow. He does everything perfectly, walks, speaks, obeys, but there's no spark in his eyes, no laughter, no anger, no joy. He is flawless and completely hollow. The other boys whisper that Dionysos is what happens when you surrender too deeply. When you erase yourself so completely, there's nothing left. He's still useful, still beautiful, but no longer truly alive. 3 weeks after your arrival, you receive your first private summons. The moment you've both feared and expected. Alexandros, your trainer, spends hours preparing you. He selects a tunic that clings just enough to show your shape, but not too much. He styles your hair so it glows under lamplight. He applies soft makeup, just enough to make your face seem younger, softer. He watches every detail. And then, before you leave, he kneels beside you and adjusts the folds of your robe. Remember, he says quietly, you exist for his pleasure. Your thoughts, your fears, your hopes, they don't matter. All that matters is what Marcus Lucullus wants. Sometimes he wants company. Sometimes silence. Sometimes ... More. Your job is to give it, without being asked. You walk down the long corridor to his private chamber. Each step is silent, your bare feet making no sound on the marble, but your heartbeat is thunder. You're sure the whole villa can hear it. The guards at the door don't even glance at you. You are beneath notice, not a guest, not a person, just part of the furniture. The doors open, and you are alone with the man who owns you. Marcus Lucullus reclines on a low couch, silk cushions beneath him. Scrolls are scattered around his seat. He's removed his formal robe, wearing only a light tunic, but even in comfort, he radiates control. Come here, boy, he says without looking up. His voice isn't angry. It isn't kind. It's the voice someone uses to summon a servant or a pet. You step forward slowly, unsure how near to stand. You stop just outside his reach, And wait, he gestures. You move closer. Turn, he commands. You do, slowly, letting him see every angle. His eyes study you, not like a person, like an object. He nods. It's a small gesture, just a flicker, but it feels like a wave of heat. Relief, shame, pride, disgust. 1,000 emotions at once. He approves. That's all that matters. Alexandros tells me you're learning. Quickly, he says, setting down his wine, recites something Greek. I'm in the mood for philosophy. You begin. You recite a passage from Plato, something about love, about beauty, about souls finding each other. You chose it because it's elegant, and because you've memorized every word. As you speak, you watch him. You study his face, looking for signs. Is he pleased, bored, amused? And one phrase, his mouth twitches, a smile. You lean into it, adjusting your tone, playing the game. When you finish, he nods. Lovely. Your accent needs work, but that will come. He gestures to the space beside him. Sit. Not too close. I want to feel your warmth, not be smothered. You sit as instructed, still, quiet, present. The next hour feels like a strange dream. He reads from his scrolls, sometimes aloud, sometimes silently. His fingers drift through your hair, absent-minded, gentle, like a man petting a cat. Now and then, he tests you. He reads a line, asks a question, something about poetry, or ideas, or myth. You answer carefully. Not too clever, not too slow. When he approves, he touches you again. When he frowns, the touch fades, and you realize that absence is worse than any blow. This becomes your life. Days filled with learning, grooming, perfecting. Nights spent waiting and serving whatever version of companionship Marcus Lucallus desires. Sometimes he wants conversation, debate, soft laughter, philosophy. Sometimes you are decoration, sitting silently while he entertains guests. A beautiful thing, displayed like fine art. And sometimes it's more. A level of intimacy your past life never prepared you for. Your body, like your mind, belongs to him. The baths, the tutors, the silk clothing, it's all part of the same system. It's not care, it's crafting. You are not a child anymore. You are an object shaped to perfection for his use. And slowly, without even noticing, something inside begins to shift. The lines between who you are and who you're pretending to be start to blur. You no longer have to think about how to walk, how to smile, how to serve. It just happens. The things he likes become the things you like. The songs he prefers, now your favorites. Even your emotions begin to bend around his presence. Most disturbing of all, you begin to feel something like affection, not fear, not hate, something gentler, something dangerous. You hate yourself for it, but it's there. Other boys are also learning to survive in their own ways. Alexis has mastered the art of influence. He flatters when needed. He knows how to make Marcus laugh, how to make himself needed. He gives you advice, in whispers. If beauty fades, he says, then become useful. Learn his business, help with his guests. Make yourself important, not just attractive. He'll keep you longer if he needs you for more than your face. Then there's Dionysos, the boy who gave up everything. He does what he's told, always, flawlessly. He doesn't speak unless spoken to, doesn't smile, doesn't cry. He's not afraid anymore, because he no longer feels anything. Some call it peace, but it looks like death. You try to find a path between them, not too submissive, not too ambitious, just enough to stay safe. But in this world, there is no safety, only performance, and the hope that you can keep performing. One more day you try to do your role well. Every movement, every glance is carefully measured. You serve with skill, with grace, but deep inside you still hold onto something untouched. A small part of yourself that refuses to die, no matter how much the world around you tries to crush it. But it's not easy. In fact, it's harder than anything you imagined, because this system, this brutal, polished, unspoken machine is built not just to control your body, but to erase your mind, to make resistance feel not just dangerous, but pointless, and even more than that, to make resistance feel impossible to imagine at all. Every part of your daily life depends on your master's approval. His nod, his smile, his silence, all of it decides your comfort, your safety, your worth. And slowly, without even noticing, your entire sense of self begins to revolve around him. You start to believe that his opinion is the only one that matters. After a while, the very idea of thinking for yourself feels foreign, like remembering a dream that fades the moment you wake. Weeks pass, then months, then years. Your body begins to change, subtle at first. Your voice grows deeper, and you're forced to control your breath to hide it. Muscles form in your arms and chest, and to stop them from growing. Your diet is restricted more and more, less food, fewer nutrients, more weakness. Facial hair begins to appear, and every morning it must be shaved away in silence. Each small change in your body becomes a reminder your time is running out. You feel it like a shadow growing behind you. The question haunts you: when will I no longer be useful? Around you, the household keeps changing. New boys arrive shaking, scared, confused. Older boys disappear, some slowly, others suddenly. You watch it all, like seasons turning. It becomes a pattern, a rhythm. You see it clearly now. First, there is terror. The wide eyes, the trembling hands, the long silences. Then comes acceptance, quiet, hopeless. They begin to adjust. They learn the rules. They smile when they must. They speak only when spoken to. They become part of the machine, and then, eventually, they vanish. Some are sold, others are manumitted, freed, in a way, but given only the bare minimum to survive. A few just disappear. No word, no farewell. One night, their bed is empty, their scent fades, and nothing is said. You begin to understand your place in this cycle. You form bonds with the other boys. Some friendships are genuine. You laugh together, cry together. You share stories late at night when the halls are silent. You comfort each other when the fear becomes too much to carry alone. But those same friends are also your rivals. Every kindness is shadowed by competition. Every shared secret carries risk, because only one of you can be the favorite. And being the favorite means safety. It means better food, kinder words, gentler hands. You support one another. But deep down, you all know the master's attention is a limited flame, and only one can stand in its warmth. Outside these walls, the world continues. Armies march, senators argue, emperors rise and fall. You hear whispers of it sometimes in passing conversations, in the clipped tones of a visiting official. But it feels like fiction, a myth from another lifetime. Your world now is this villa, these rooms, these stone floors, these faces sometimes when you least expect it. A smell, a sound, a certain light brings a memory crashing back. The scent of baking bread might pull you into a moment from your mother's kitchen. A merchant's accent might echo your father's voice. These memories are knives. They cut deep, too deep, so you learn to push them away. You stop remembering. You stop hoping. You live in the now. You obey. You survive. Your master ages too, though not like you. His hair turns silver, but no one punishes him for it. Lines deepen around his eyes, but they only seem to make him more powerful, more respected. His body grows heavier, not from struggle, but from luxury. For him, aging is an honor. For you, it's a warning. Each day your time grows shorter. Each glance in the mirror reminds you that your usefulness is fading. Every task you complete well feels like a small victory, but also like a temporary delay before the end. You become grateful for things you once would have found stranger. Gentle word, a small gift, a hand resting lightly on your shoulder. These moments feel like kindness, but you know better. They are not about you. They are about possession. You are not being loved. You are being kept. Not all boys handle this pressure. Some break. You see it happen. One starts crying for no reason and can't stop. Another becomes aggressive, trying to outshine everyone else, growing cruel in his desperation. Another offers more and more of himself, hoping that by giving everything, he'll be allowed to stay just a little longer, and others simply fall silent. They fade before they're even gone. You, somehow, endure, not because you are stronger, but because you have learned to feel less. You do what is asked. You speak when spoken to. You perform with quiet skill, always watching, always listening. Inside, a small part of you still burns, but you guard it carefully, like a flame in a storm. And perhaps the cruelest part of this entire system is that over time, it makes you part of it. You become proud of how well you understand your master's moods. You feel a twisted sense of success when you anticipate his needs. You compete with other boys not just to survive, but because some part of you begins to believe that winning matters. You have been trained so completely, so thoroughly, that even your values have changed. You measure your worth by the smiles of your captors. You find pride in things that should bring you shame. You begin to think like them, speak like them, want the things they want. This is what they wanted all along, not just obedience, but transformation. In time, you begin to forget what freedom even feels like. When you hear rumors of someone escaping, your first thought isn't hope, it's confusion. Where would they go? What would they do? Who would they even be? You cannot imagine a world outside this one. Not truly. You have lived in a cage for so long. It has become your home. But even now, even hear something inside. You resist. You keep a few words of your old language locked away in your mind. You never speak them, but you think them when you're alone. You remember the smell of the wind on the Celtic hills, the way your father's hands looked when they carved wood, your mother's voice, soft and strong. You try not to think of these things too often. The pain is too sharp, but they are there, always there, and most important of all, you never forget that you were someone before this, and somewhere inside you still are. Then, one day, it ends. There is no grand moment, no dramatic goodbye, just a quiet conversation with Alexandros. He tells you the master has made arrangements. You are to be freed. You will receive a small inheritance and a letter of recommendation. You are to take a position in a senator's home, perhaps as a tutor or a steward. He speaks with the same cold tone he's always used. Efficient, calm, empty, you feel. Nothing, or perhaps too many things at once. This freedom you once dreamed of now feels like a foreign land. You should feel joy, relief, but instead you feel like you've been cast out into the sea without a map. Yes, you've been educated, trained in languages, history, manners. You know how to speak to nobles, how to pour wine, how to flatter without lying. But you also know every one of those skills was born from pain. You are a perfect servant because you were broken into one, and now they tell you to go at first. You wander through your days, unsure of what you want, unsure of what to do. No one tells you when to wake, when to eat, how to speak. You are free, but you are lost. Some of the other boys you knew try to adjust. Some even thrive. They use their skills to build lives of their own. They marry, they teach, they find peace. Others cannot cope. The silence terrifies them. The choices paralyze them. Without someone to tell them who to be, they crumble. And a few never leave at all. They grow older. They become stewards, like Alexandros. They join the system. They help shape the next generation, repeating the same cruelty they once endured. And you walk away from the villa for the last time. You carry nothing but a small bag of clothes, a few coins, and the invisible weight of everything that happened within those walls. You carry scars. Some you can see, others you can only feel. You are a man now, but you will always be the boy who was taken. Your story is one of thousands, and most of them were never written down. Rome remembers its victories, its legions, its emperors, its monuments. But it does not remember you. It does not remember the stolen childhoods, the quiet cries in candlelit halls, the boys who served until they could serve no more. But you existed. You all did, and your suffering was real. History may forget your names, but it must never forget your truth. Because even though the empire fell, the pattern remains. The faces change, the buildings are different. But the system, the hunger for power, the use of beauty, the silence of the powerful remains. And so we must remember, not just to honor you, but to protect others. Your life was stolen, but your story can still be told, and in that telling, there is dignity, there is resistance, there is a small light, refusing to go out, even after the marble has crumbled and the gold has turned to dust. Even now,